Everybody, Professor Noble here. Class is back in session, and today is a great lecture. I'm going to talk about the reasons why divorce happens in over 90% of the cases. So listen up. It'll keep you out of divorce court at my office. Hey everybody, in case you're new here, I'm Jonathan Noble, divorce and family law attorney, licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And I want to talk briefly about one characteristic that I see in all high conflict divorces. So maybe if you recognize these characteristics, you won't marry that person, or you'll help them get therapy if it can be resolved. In my opinion, there's two things that are always present in a high conflict divorce. I would say 95% of the time in a high conflict divorce, one of these two things is present. One is one or both people have a personality disorder. Either one or both have narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder or the dark triad of personality traits. The other thing is more subtle but very common. And that is they have an attachment style that is not conducive to being in a relationship. So I want to talk about attachment styles. If you don't know anything about it, it was a theory that was developed in the 1950s. And long story short, there's 4 attachment styles. All attachment styles are developed from infancy to toddler age. Okay, so like from a newborn to maybe 5 years old. And basically, the theory says that infants and toddlers monitor their parent or caregiver to see what strategies would allow them to stay close to their parent or caregiver. The theory goes on to say that if a child can consistently rely on their parents or caregiver to fulfill their needs growing up, they're likely to develop a secure attachment style, which is a healthy attachment style. They will see relationships as a safe space where they can express their emotions freely, right? That's what you want, a safe space. That's what makes relationships terrific. You don't want to be in a place where you don't feel safe. But the theory goes on to say, on the other hand, insecure attachment styles develop if a child has had a strained bond with their caregivers. This happens when the child learns they may not be able to rely on others to fulfill basic needs and comfort. So, if you think about it, it makes sense. If you've been raised not to be able to rely on others, then when you grow up as an adult, you're going to have problems. So if you're an infant or toddler, you are always monitoring where you're in the safe zone. And if you feel secure as a toddler, you're going to wander off, knowing that that person is going to be there for you in case you need them. It's critical. So if you've had a caregiver that took really great care of you, the theory goes, and you were secure, you would form what's known as a secure attachment style, which means what? That you pretty much can get into a healthy relationship. But here's the problem in high conflict divorces, and this is something that I want you to think about and research if you're in a relationship. There's 3 other attachment styles that are not healthy and that are not going to lead to a healthy marriage or relationship. The first one is a dismissive avoidant attachment style. And in a nutshell, that is somebody that will back away and not even engage with you in terms of why they're upset. They just disengage. Can you imagine being married to somebody who disengages? And then they may or may not come back. I've seen marriages where one person disappears, and it could be due to dismissive avoidance style. You got to be careful. If you have someone that disappears and comes back and disappears and comes back, don't marry them unless you want to come into my office for a divorce consult. We're not going to be playing guitar either, all right? It's not the way you want to go. The next one that's not healthy, but I see a lot in high conflict divorces, somebody with an anxious avoidant attachment style, where they're like preoccupied with things that just don't even exist, or they're always in a place, in a headspace where they can't engage because they're preoccupied. They're so anxious. They can't believe they're in a good relationship or they found the right person or fill in the blank. And it's an impediment to letting the relationship bloom. So you're always like working as a social worker, trying to get to the bottom of what's bothering your partner. If you marry them, you're going to spend so much bandwidth trying to fix something that you didn't cause. It's going to lead you where? Right into divorce court. Eventually, you're going to run out of bandwidth. And I don't want that, all right? I want you to go live your best life. And then the third kind of attachment style that I've seen in high conflict divorces is a fearful, disorganized attachment style, where someone or both of them, but definitely one of them in a high conflict divorce, is always afraid that the other shoe is going to drop, or the other person is going to find out something about them, or not love them, or, and you can never bond in a healthy way with your partner. So the attachment styles will crush any chance that you'll have a healthy long-term marriage. I want you to get educated about the attachment styles and about personality disorders. 90+% of high conflict divorces that I've seen, and I'm not the only experienced lawyer that will say this, they have one of these two problems: a problem with personality disorder in one or both people, or the attachment style in one or both people is not conducive to a long-term marriage. If you can recognize this, either in your partner or maybe even yourself, I know I'm asking for a lot for you to look at yourself, especially with the dark triads or narcissists. They'll never agree. Almost all of these problems manifested themselves when you were very young. So 0 to like 5 years old, 6 years old. And it takes a ton of work to fix. The problem is these problems, these personality problems and attachment style problems will never lead to a long-term happy relationship or marriage. I want to keep you out of divorce court, all right? That's the purpose of the video. Share this with somebody you know who keeps getting broken up with, or for no reason. It's just like, I need this, I'm not feeling it. Don't marry somebody that keeps doing that. Never ends well, all right? Be careful out there.